Oh.
Well, guess what? It's Thursday. What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you right now, dummy, listen up. It's Wait, Did I Roll a Wild? Your Marvel Crisis Protocol vlog. I'm here. My name's Tim. I'm sitting in this chair today. Over there is Dr. Dylan, sitting in that room right adjacent to us. And also here in the same room that I am, that is not the same room that Dylan is in, is Dan.
Hi.
How's everyone doing?
I've never been better in my whole entire life.
Oh, I like to hear that.
He's so excited to have more mutants in this game.
Oh, I know.
I like to hear you. I know. I was excited. I actually have damaged the roof from me bouncing off the walls. I love it. And the thing is
He
I
wasn't
really
even
love
drinking a Monster while he was doing it.
the varied levels of threat that they keep giving them too. It's crazy. It's like you can make a whole team of. Oh no, wait! It's just 4s actually. It's still just
we had
4s.
Ulick very recently. He was 5.
Oh, that's right. He is
Ooh.
5, but he's size
Who?
4.
That's true.
No, he's size 3.
Listen, I just...
You just making stuff up.
Yeah, kind of. It was a joke. But tonight on Wait, Did I Roll a Wild, we are going to discuss the Psylocke card reveal, as well as Dan and I, earlier this week, ate a bunch of peanut butter right before we started.
You eat JB's peanut butter.
Don't tell him.
I just
Nobody
did.
tell JB that I've been eating his peanut butter while he's not here. But Dan and I got to play Just the Parker Luck on Monday on Oh Yeah, the Power Phase, and that went a way that I don't think either of us were expecting.
Not even a little bit.
We are also going to talk about our LVO Qualifier event that is this Saturday, February 18th.
Oh, man.
The 3 of us will be there. Brian will be there, Ben and Alyssa. Should be a great gosh dang old time.
I got to slap more paint on the aforementioned Ulick.
Yeah, Ben sent me a message right before I headed over here to start recording and said, "Hey, is your Spider-Woman together?" And I was like, "Together, yes. Primed, also yes."
Oh, mine too.
Is she painted? No. Nope.
No.
So, but they're going to be hanging out at my house for a little bit while we record Lost Omens tomorrow.
Plenty
So
of time for him to paint Spider-Woman.
maybe Alyssa could just paint my Spider-Woman.
Have you asked her yet? Because
No.
she'll probably say yes.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. I think that's rude to ask. So I'll just announce it on a publicly streamed podcast. Just hope it works out.
Now she's obligated.
Right?
She has a social obligation to paint your models.
That's, what is it? Taylor calls it getting Tom Sawyered.
Yes. Yeah. I loved that when Taylor started painting some of my models for me. It was Chuck. He was like, "Oh, Tom Sawyered another rube into doing his painting for him."
It's pretty accurate.
Speaking of Chuck, there was a ways back. This is kind of a gimmick that's been in a lot of our group chats and stuff, where whenever a new character comes out, Chuck will say, "Yo, Psylocke looks dope."
All the way back.
All the way back
Is that what that was a reference to?
So way back when the Sin Viper box was announced, they showed like silhouettes of the characters.
Yeah.
So people were going nuts trying to figure out like who was who, and he was like, "Oh, it's definitely Psylocke."
He was convinced it was Psylocke.
You're like,
you were wrong if you argued with
This character has a gun in one hand. I don't know if Psylocke uses guns. And he's like, "No, it's just another one of the energy blades thing." So then the reveal came out, and it was Viper, and he was like, "Yo, Psylocke looks dope."
He doubled down. It was pretty good.
I did not know that.
He kept
Now
that shtick up for a long time.
Yeah, yep. I mean, even in the Discord the other day, when Psylocke was revealed, finally got to say, "Oh, Psylocke looks dope."
That now makes more sense.
But we always start the show with a segment called Games Played and Hobby
Not
Thoughts.
always.
Well, that's fair. That's valid. That's a good point. Dan, what have you hobby this week? There's been a bunch of releases recently. What have you been putting paint on?
I've been doing some hobby. I got the new releases built.
Nice.
And then primed.
Mm-hmm.
And I started painting Ulick.
But did you get them built bars?
No.
Okay.
I did see that Bearded Dragon Games has some built bars in the cooler for sale.
Do they really?
Built puffs.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, hey, look at that.
Huh. He better have used code professional casual at checkout.
I hope so. But I did. Ulick is, I think he is base coated. I just need to do the actual base, and then a little bit of something to be table ready, like a wash or whatever. I'd like to have them done, of course, for the tournament on Saturday, because I'm going to fit them into my criminal syndicate list, because mostly I think it'd be funny.
Speaking of, so Brian Watson wrote into the network and is kind of upset at you for changing your affiliation. What were you playing previously before going to?
I didn't change it. I did change it, but I didn't like change it from one to another. It was Criminal Syndicate and Spider Foes.
Oh,
Now
okay.
it's just Criminal Syndicate. I took out Green Goblin to put Ulick in.
To who?
Yeah.
You got rid of Green Goblin for Ulick?
Hmm.
What are you talking about? What you talking about, man? Green Goblin's great.
He is good.
No,
I don't know. I
said
might
he's
change
great.
it again. I haven't totally decided.
Dr. D.
I can change
Yeah, that's
whatever I
me.
want.
Have you hobbied at all this week?
Oh my gosh, you've asked me?
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
So Dan and
sure
I got
did.
to play just the Parker. No, sorry, go ahead.
He's just gonna leave.
But,
It's true. I
yeah,
actually
what have you hobbied, man?
So there's this event I'm going to this weekend in Oneonta, New York,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mhm.
I had to finish a couple of the characters I changed my roster out for. So I painted. Now I'm talking about real Dylan Hobo style. So I'm going to put these on the table, and you're going to be like, "Which trash bin did you pull this out of?" And I'll be like,
Same
"I'll
one
tell
that
you."
Mitch threw Cassandra Nova into.
Yes. So I had to paint red. I had to paint new Red Skull. I had to paint his hobo goon squad. I got to touch up Juggernaut, and then I put in Mordo, who also looks like a homeless person.
All right, valid. So, and that this is the roster as well that you wrote about in that blog article about how not to be a doofus.
So
Or similar.
yes,
Oh, I need to read
it's
that.
the exact. No, you don't. And the exact same list. I've been playing testing it a little bit. I may or may not make a. I might swap in Rhino. Kind of debating on it. I don't know if it really
Yeah.
belongs in Convocation. I'd purely just be for just objective play. I don't think I will, but yes, that's pretty much what I'm going to be playing.
Speaking of Rhino, you have a new blog coming out tomorrow about painting Rhino, correct?
I sure do. It's mostly just his hide. The rest of the stuff, I just finished painting it and threw the article up. But it's all about the hide, which I was instructed at the beginning, right? So I did the metrics for it today. And when we were in your basement and I was tied to the wall and you said, do this or, your family's going to get it.
You weren't tied; it was
said-
chained.
You said 2,000 words. So I was like, okay. So after I finished writing it, there's 3,000 words in this thing. And I threw it into this little calculator thing. And I wrote at a 9th to 10th grade level.
Whoa!
Wow.
Very impressed. Dan would be very proud.
It's
Congratulations!
like higher than most newspapers.
Yeah. Wait, is it really?
I believe most newspapers are like, so more people can read it. They write at like an 8th grade level or something like that.
Oh, nice.
I
Take
think.
that, Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
You big idiots.
Bring me the writing of an 8-year-old child. But
So yeah,
all
hope
right.
everybody enjoys that.
Well, yeah. Listen. I know I did. I got a sneak peek when I read it
Sure did.
earlier.
Oh, I totally could do that right now.
You totally could.
You can. You got access to the back doors.
I do.
It's so true. I've had to be very careful about blogs that I'm currently in the process of writing, so I don't blow up any NDAs by people having access to like online web portals or something that we use.
So I don't
Fair.
get access. I don't get access to all the other articles. So every single time I get on the website, it's like, oh, you have 6 articles that are getting ready to be posted. I'm like, I do? And then every time I click it, it's just mine. And I'm like, okay. Man, I'm really productive.
Look at me.
I'm doing it, Dad.
Well
Hooray.
Have you gotten any games in over the last couple of weeks practicing with this particular Convocation roster?
I sure have. I played 2 games against my buddy Wilmar at Alpha Omega in Quincy. That's actually my local game store.
None of those words were real.
We
They're not real.
listen. Quincy's literally one of our favorite people.
It's true.
I was like, what?
So I did play there. He played Spider Foes. I won one and lost one. It pretty much came down to me not playing Journey Through Limbo when I totally planned on doing it. But then I realized that I'm a doofus. The D stands for doofus.
You
I'm
gotta
Dr. Doofus.
read that article about how to not be a doofus.
That's true. I'm going to reread it. You know what? Maybe
He
I'll
didn't
even
read
write
it. He
another
just
one.
wrote it.
Right?
I just-
Totally
yeah.
different.
I never read what I write. That's the coward's way out.
Stream of consciousness.
But
Learning is for cowards.
So Monday this week, Dan and I got to play just the Parker Luck live on stream. Our LGS was one of the handful, apparently, because I've seen some stuff on on the Facebook groups, right? That like some game stores have it, some don't. Bearded Dragon happened to, so we were able to stream that on Monday. And in Alyssa's words, and now Ben's words,
Yeah, I saw that.
It's a little funny, but
It's not untrue.
right.
Well, what did she say exactly? Like,
So yeah, the first time I said Dan and I played just the Parker luck, and she said, I don't know if I would say Dan played.
I was there. I moved Peter Parker around the table.
That's true.
I rolled dice really poorly.
So we played it at the Rent is Due level, which is the hardest level for the Crisis team, and it didn't appear like that was actually the case. But there were some because it's MCP. There's some incredibly swingy dice, right?
Yeah.
So Dan was just straight up rolling Tim France defense dice
And
and offense and letting just a whole bunch of stuff through. But what did you think about it overall, outside of the extreme swinginess of that one for our playthrough of it?
I think the encounter itself, I think, is set up really cool and has a ton of potential.
Mm-hmm.
There was one particular thing I misunderstood that would have changed things drastically. I think I said it a couple times after the game, like, this is one that don't just play it once. Give it a couple of tries, because it's fairly complex. There's a lot going on. And sometimes your Parker with 8 strength attacks will get 2 hits every time, you know?
That's true. Yeah,
so
Quicksilver took a lot of attacks without dazing.
And, like, he can be a little tinky with the rerolls, but, like, he should have gone down, period, because he didn't.
Yeah,
he should have at some point.
If you've listened, never mind. But yeah, there was a real low-hanging fruit there that I decided not to go for.
Respectable.
Yeah, listen, that took a lot of restraint, but yeah,
family-friendly podcast.
Correct. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. I think the flip, right, a little bit of having a good guy narratively be the crisis threat, and having, effectively a bunch of people now being spider foes trying to expose them was super cool. But you're right, there is a lot going on. The angle of the cameras that you're using, where you put them, if you interact with them, take them down, put them up, all that type of stuff really kind of played into a lot of how that game went. In addition to just being a little unclear on if the crisis threat would lose an activation if he was dazed. So it didn't really say whether you flipped over at the next or what kind of that planed out with, but I think it was pretty fun.
It was just unfortunate that you had, like, the hard counter to that particular cosmic threat, because it's like he's got 5 physical defense, and he can reroll any number of dice in his defense and dodge rolls. And then you're like, Agent Venom, down, dazed.
Bring Venom. Yeah.
Right.
Just Agent Venom to try him out, and he was just like, blah, 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 and Peter Parker was like,
To be fair, he does say that.
Yeah, a lot.
And the Incinerate on Agent Venom as well is really good. He performed exactly how I was kind of hoping he would. He's a great character.
Yeah, he's really good.
And, and in Dan's defense as well, I 100% cheated. I brought 5% more threat than I should have.
You did have 10 and 11.
Yes, because I thought, in my head, and I do this with Blade all the time too, where they're 4s. They are 4 threat characters. But in my head, I treat them as 3s.
I was going to say, Blade is a 4th threat.
No, he
I
is.
got what you're saying.
100%. Both him and Agent Venom are both 4s. In my head, whenever I'm doing mental math with them, I always tally them as 3.
Don't do that.
No,
Bad
you're
idea.
I was gonna say.
Yep.
So that's why I lost that so poorly, is because he had one more threat.
He's threat up.
Yep. Well, unequivocally so. But, and there was kind of a catch up too. So, right. So, the Crisis team kind of got off to an early lead. Placement of those congoers is super important in that first round, because you can give up rather quickly 3 or 6 victory points.
Oh, like right off the bat, that was your first action.
Mm-hmm.
You got a congoer away and scored 3 points, and I was like, oh, I totally messed this up. I didn't know what I was doing when I put him down.
Right.
Whoops.
And I think a lot of the organized play kits kind of work that way, where you really should play it a couple times, because there's a lot going on usually. But yeah, I super dug it.
I really like the concept of it.
Yeah.
I'd like to give it another shot at some point.
And you
It's
could
a really well done one.
You guys could give it a shot too if you're headed to Adepticon, because there will be a day where that is going to be played. I don't. My assumption is you'll be able to probably get a kit for it there as well, but I'm not positive on that. But yeah, there, or listen, if your LGS has it, if you're coming to the event on Saturday here in Onomatopea, New York, you might be able to grab it and play it as well. But let's get on to the meat and psychic potatoes of this week, which is something I think that we're going to go on a lot of tangents about.
Betsy.
It's the old Betsy Elizabeth. It's Elizabeth.
I knew you were going to say that. That was
Elizabeth
a softball for you.
Braddock,
Sorry,
thank you.
Underhand.
All right, so let's get right into it. Psylocke. Spelled with an E at the end, which is why my autocorrect keeps yelling at me whenever I type the word Psylocke.
Just think Psylocke like John Locke.
Once again, also probably wouldn't have spelled it with an E. There's no E in John, dummy. But so out of the gate,
That's why he's a science teacher.
so Psylocke or Elizabeth Braddock, 3/3/4 for defenses. Seems almost a little lackluster for a 4 threat, but I think we expected her to have a high mystic defense, right? Like there would have been shocking if she was 3s across the board. But
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that as a ninja she only has 3 physical defense, but I feel like we see that made up for later on.
oh, absolutely.
Whoa, Electra would like a word with you.
I definitely don't remember Electra's defenses because I've never used her.
I'm pretty sure it's 3 across. I'll even double check.
Right, but she has martial prowess
Yeah, but she's only a 4
and stealth. So similar. She
They're
makes up.
both 4 threats. What? Yeah, she's only 3 across.
But she has actual
Anyway.
ninjas with her, which are what, 1s across?
I think they're 1/1/2.
Gotcha.
Off the top of my head.
But she has 6 stamina, so actually pretty healthy-ish. Not insanely healthy,
It's the average.
but yeah.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
4 threat, size 2, medium mover. How were you guys both expecting her to be a range medium, or were
Yeah.
you kind of anticipating a long?
I was not expecting a long mover.
Okay.
I was.
Mystique is
I
long.
admit it.
You know,
Yeah.
Viper's
Mystique was
long.
long.
I wouldn't have been surprised if she was a long move. I was also hoping for shadow teleportiness, but
Shadow teleportiness.
Yeah.
Like
It's not Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler.
man.
Nightcrawler doesn't need shadows to teleport. He goes to hell and back.
Wait, Psylocke can teleport?
She can. She had for a while. She could teleport through shadows.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah, I was really. So I mentioned it way back at some point during a wish list that I really
Probably
wanted
during the Viper reveal.
Right, probably. The Crimson Dawn version of Psylocke
Oh,
was one of
that's
my
right.
favorite miniseries as a kid. I read that a whole bunch of times. And during that time of her career, she could teleport specifically through shadows to like almost anywhere. It was really cool.
That's
Like
pretty neat.
like untyped range, like she could go like across the world if it was shadow.
I think
to shadow.
so.
That's kind of beast,
Right?
actually, right?
It was
That's-
pretty
that's-
awesome.
That's OP. That's
It was when
OP.
she was like in a real dark place after Sabretooth almost killed her. So she was like murder assassin through the shadows, stab somebody with a psychic knife in the head, and then go through a shadow somewhere else.
Super dig that. Like what is it? Age of Apocalypse Nightcrawler that would just teleport away with people's heads.
Yeah.
He was kind of baller.
It's just super brutal.
Someone pointed a finger at him. He was like, "Don't point at me," and then teleported away with the pointer finger. But yeah, so buttons. So for our builder, we actually have an energy attack here, which was a little surprising to me, called Telekinetic Katana. Telekinetic Katana.
Tadakatika.
Range 2, Strength 5, 0 power. Can be, before choosing a target, this character chooses whether this attack type is energy or mystic.
I like that a lot.
Pretty rad.
Yeah, that's really good.
After this attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to the damage dealt with neural disruption on a wild. So this is like concussive force, but good.
Stop it.
What?
I was going to get mad about that.
Oh, gotcha.
This is what concussive force should be.
I completely agree. So before damage is dealt, granted it'd be awesome if it was after damage was dealt. Before damage is dealt, for each wild in the attack roll, the target loses 1 power.
Like, it's not the best wild of trigger in the world, but it's still way better than concussive force.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Well, it's not a builder. It's not a builder.
Like, it's not, it's something. It's cool.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I like the telekinetic katana is nice that you can be energy or mystic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, her psychic knife there. I like it. Neural disruption could be useful here and there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially.
I mean, it's always useful, but
That's
Yeah.
always useful.
anytime you can get rid of enemy power is great.
Well, especially like as maybe not a secret attacker worth taking against these particular situations, but because she can attack with telekinetic katana as energy or mystic, going into maybe a Ghost Rider or an Ultron to be able to prevent potentially the the resurrection by draining some of the power out.
That's true.
I just see every time I use her, I'm gonna get 3 wilds in an attack against somebody that has no power on them or
for
has
sure.
like 1 power.
Yeah, and they'll block it all too.
Yeah, and I'll be like, well, what was the point of that anyway? And then they'll end up with more power than they started with because they did some damage. How it's gonna go for me personally.
I don't disagree. So her first gainer.
Yeah, we haven't seen one of these in a while.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. Is called Cybo. This is a mystic attack, range 4, strength 4. After this attack is resolved, this character gains 1 power. With pursuit on a hit, before damage is dealt, this character may advance towards the target character short.
I like this one.
Which I think on a hit, it's like a 76% chance to go off, which is pretty likely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. I mean, especially as like your first action to be able to get into range for something else, or like I think it's pretty cool.
A
Pursuit
little
on here is
free
neat.
short movement is always
Yeah.
and on a 0 cost power too.
Correct.
Like
That also gives you power.
right? Yeah, and you automatically get a power, and you need a hit, not a wild. I love this one.
Does Shadowlands Daredevil, does his baton that has the pursuit on it, is that also a gainer?
It is not.
And it's also physical. Is it range 4 at least?
Yes.
so.
I think
Okay.
I think so.
And then for her spender, we have Psionic Assault. Range 3, strength 7, 3 power. Actually relatively inexpensive. Before damage is dealt, the target character gains the stun special condition. And we've seen this in, 2 other instances? Total?
Mystique and Spider-Woman
Yeah.
that I can think of off the top of my head. It's pretty rare to get stunned before damage is dealt, but it's really good.
It really is. Especially, I really like the power control that she has over her opponents, whether it's adding stun before damage is dealt and then neural disruption. I think you can really kind of do some really neat stuff with her.
I think the only downside to this spender is she has superpowers that are so good that you're going to be spending all of her power on anyway.
Yeah, that's super fair. She doesn't, she has multiple ways to get power though, and her first superpower is relatively inexpensive for what it does, which is telekinetic combat enhancement.
It's real good.
This character may immediately advance short the next time it makes a telekinetic katana attack. Telekinetic katana attack. This turn, add 2 dice to the attack roll. This superpower can only be used once per turn. Here's why I think this is actually just really, really, really good, right? It is somewhat of a charge and a steroid mixed in one that is not an action. So like we've seen Black Dwarf has something similar, but it's an action.
He has
gets
to
make a move,
Yeah.
which is short. His movement is short. Granted, he's got a big old base, but this is probably honestly the best thing about her, quite arguably for me, where she has pursuit on the bow. She has this charge thing, and she's a medium mover. That's nothing necessarily to write home about, but what a maneuverable character. And she has stealth, and she can attack from inside stealth.
With that range 4.
With the range 4,
Yeah.
which that is
She's got some
usually pretty
cool
rare.
stuff going on.
So a lot of the other characters that we see that have stealth, normally they probably have a pistol shot that they can rapid fire or something, but it's always range 3. It's usually pretty rare to see a range 4 attack on a stealth unit. And I think that's also awesome because she has that same dead range that Mystique has with Martial Artist, where when she is defending against a physical or energy attack, and she's being targeted within range 2, this character adds blanks to the defense roll to its total successes. She's very small dead zone. You got to be really specific how you are tiptoeing in that line while also making sure Martial Artist isn't going to be there.
Right, you get that 3-inch zone.
Correct.
Between 2 and 3.
Yep.
That's your ideal place to attack Psylocke. But even when you do get there, she can still defend herself a bit with telepathic precognition.
No breathing.
Which is an X power superpower reactive. So while this character is attacking or defending during the modified dice step of the attack, it may spend any amount of power to use this superpower. For each power spent, this character may reroll one of its attack or defense dice only once a turn.
No cap.
But
No cap to it.
yeah,
which is super cool.
and
So-
you're doing it during the modified dice steps. So you already know how many dice you have out there to reroll.
Correct. So, question, and this is one of those like kind of rules dealios. If you overspend on this, can you re-roll the same die, or do all those re-rolls happen at the same time?
I think so if it's from the same rule, I'm pretty sure you got to reroll them all at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, because for each power spent, this character may reroll one of its attack or defense dice.
And they even specifically it's not exactly the same situation, but like in Domino and I guess to some extent Mal, you can't overspend where if you like got a crit, if you rolled like another crit, you could also reroll that or whatever. I forget exactly the word.
Well, his was skulls into crits, right? So it was about pre-spending in case your crits ended up rolling more skulls or something along
Correct.
those lines. Yeah.
So they clearly want those rerolls happening at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think it'd be like, oh, I have 2 blanks,
Yeah.
but I want to reroll 4 dice in case I reroll those into something else. I don't think it works that way.
I assumed. I feel like, and so maybe I cheated a little bit more even on Monday
What?
because with Quicksilver being able to roll any amount of attack dice or being able to re-roll 2 defense dice. Sorry.
Yeah,
I rolled the same die twice. Is that not doable?
I don't think so.
Okay. So that's another reason why I cheated.
So maybe I would have dazed him.
I mean, I
I would have 3 more points.
I re-rolled a blank into a blank and then a third blank. So no, but like.
Yeah, okay, that tracks.
But yeah, I on her injured side as well. The only thing that changes is she drops 1 stamina. Outside that, everything looks the same. But I think.
No, her art changes.
Oh, that's true. My bad. I'm just
and
an
the
idiot.
background becomes red instead of blue. Dummy.
Yeah, jeez.
It's so different.
It got me twice, guys.
Her stats go from blue to orange. Come on.
It's true.
It is. But
Hey, Dan, now that you're the owner of Professional Casual from destroying your boss like that, what direction? How are you going to use Psylocke now that you're the owner of Professional Casual?
as the owner of Professional Casual, will it change how you were using Psylocke? even?
Well, I already was an owner, but
Right.
I definitely want to try her on a couple different places depending on what she's affiliated with. I think we can pretty safely assume Uncanny X-Men X-Force.
Yeah.
I'm not like I feel like it'd be a stretch. She fits the theme for Weapon X, I think, in terms of like what characters are there, but not story wise.
Mm.
I don't really see her fitting anywhere else.
A-Force, maybe?
Probably.
Maybe.
She might be Cabal too, because doesn't she have something to do with the hand?
So
Oh.
when she was, yeah, we were talking about before we went live how Betsy Braddock is British, but she got
It's
her
Elizabeth.
mind put into this ninja named Quanen's body, which is when she's a ninja. So by the hand did that to her and messed her all up, and she was real confused for a long time. Which is pretty cool. But they went with that version of her instead of like the original version where she just kind of staying there with like the butterfly effect around her face. I'm a big fan of the current version of her where she's part of, it was Excalibur in the Age of Krakoa,
Yeah.
but then it became
In the
I think it's
Krakoa
called
cage.
Knights of X, where she just she like wears armor like a knight.
She wears the mutant armor? That seems
No!
really excessive.
But she looks really cool. She's got like a big broadsword that she makes all psychic at times instead of the
Nice.
katana. She looks pretty awesome.
Super side note, is Psylocke in Marvel Snap?
Yes, she's a
Yes.
2.
One
Oh,
or
she's
two-
the
gives
one
you
that
an
gives you
ener-
extra energy.
Gives you an
Yeah,
energy. Yeah, she
that's right.
gives you an energy when you play her.
Her powers really
Asking the
low.
important questions here, you know?
It is,
Welcome to
very
Wait, Did I Roll a While, the newest Snap Marvel Snap podcast.
It's so good. It's so good. It's all I do at my lunch.
You don't eat lunch?
I mean, I eat while I'm playing and listening to the gossip.
It sounds like a lot of things.
Well, no
going
wonder
on at
you're not
once.
ranked 100. You're wasting time eating food, idiot. You got to be playing Snap.
I don't know if I have a rank.
Yeah, you should have a rank.
Yeah, that's how you get
That's
the little unlocks.
The cubes that go up and down based on whether you win or lose.
Oh, definitely not
PvP
100. That's
rank.
crazy.
Do you know who
Because
does?
he eating.
Hank,
Of course he does.
director of Adepticon, kills it in Snap. Just really good at it.
What about Hank Hill?
Hank Hill. Well, I'll tell you what.
Whoa.
He runs,
Whoa.
Oh, good.
He runs a Squirrel Girl deck that is just not good, but super annoying anyway.
Just, I would say Squirrel Girl can be good if it's a Destruction or a Patriot deck, potentially.
Yep.
I use her in Zoo.
I like
Bishop Zoo.
Yeah. I took her out of Zoo. Granted, I told you we were going to be on tangents, but
It's been it took us a while to get on one, to be fair.
correct. I took her out of my Zoo. I threw in things like the guy with the can't remember his name.
Yondu. What's
Yondu,
the zoo?
Yeah. It means you play with Kazoo and probably Blue Marvel, and it's just like you have it's a swarm deck.
Yeah.
Kazoo.
Kazakh.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Kel'Thuzad.
Kazoo, yeah.
You're still just making up words.
Kel'Thuzad.
It's the Savage
Karnak.
Lands guy. Yeah, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
The guy's not
Kazoo.
wearing a shirt.
Kazar?
Kazar.
Yeah, sure.
Kazoozer.
Dude, I can't believe you got it in the first try.
Oh my god. What is happening right now?
So, Throwlash also let us know, Dan, that you do have a rank of 7 in Longshanks.
I do.
So,
Congratulations.
And then I saw like people in the tournament, like Ben is like 500 and something. I was like, oh, 7's not good. But I also have 2 events listed. So
yeah. And listen, we've been to events, right? We just don't get to play in them.
yeah, right. But to quite a few.
But, all right. So, Dan, where are you using Elizabeth?
Come
Anyway.
back to me.
Okay.
Point I was getting to is she might be in Cabal before we went on that weird tangent.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I
don't know her
story.
story. I don't know her story. I've never read a comic with her in it, so that doesn't help.
I think X-Men, X-Force are
Guaranteed.
Shoo-ins.
I would say guaranteed.
possibly A-Force. I
Yep.
don't know enough about that in the comics itself.
Maybe Brotherhood?
Mm,
She was part of Magneto's group in X-Men Apocalypse, the movie.
okay,
Oh boy,
that's an
That's
unfortunate
canon.
reference.
Yeah.
that is canon. Also, Olivia Munn, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, that
The
was the only reason to
definition of
watch that
success.
movie, wasn't it?
What's that?
So wasn't that the only reason? Wasn't she the only reason to watch that movie?
Like old Caliban, too, but with played by Stephen Merchant,
I don't remember that.
who I really like.
I like Caliban in general.
Same.
When are we gonna get him an MCP?
I want
Hey.
Leech.
Actually, out of curiosity, who is Ulick? Who is it?
Leech would be obnoxious, just like he is in Snap.
Yeah.
But can you imagine Leech? He'd be a size 1 like Rocket,
Mhm.
because he's a little kid, a little beanie on,
Yeah.
teeny weeny beanie, and yeah, he would just be like the worst to deal with. I feel like.
He'd be a denial. He'd be like a denial 2, maybe. Just stand next to you and you just can't do superpowers.
Yeah, it would be like was it, Emma has that power, same as
Mystique.
Can't react.
Mystique,
Yeah,
but it'd be
no
like
reaction.
that turned up. Like you
No
can't use
active powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on your turn, you can't do active powers.
or leaderships.
So, Dr. D, since we're coming back to Dan with this question, what affiliations are you going to be using using Psylocke in, and why do you think it helps Brotherhood?
All right. So I'd like to announce my retirement from this part. No, so obviously, as someone who loves Convocation, I think she's a pretty good Convocation member. I think the biggest issue she's going to bump into with me is I think her and Ancient One kind of fight for the same slot.
Yeah,
since
I
they're both
agree.
fours.
there.
I think I prefer Ancient One. I might try Psylocke because I'm going to get the model because it's in a box I'm going to be buying anyway.
I
But
do believe it's pronounced Ancient One.
is it? Do you got to do the hands thing? Where it's like the cat. What I don't even know what the kawaii or whatever it is. Anyway, no, I think she's pretty good. I think she'd be okay in Convocation as like a harassment piece. I guess it kind of depends on what kind of Convocation list you want to run. But she's fast,
Yeah.
right? So I really don't think you're going to see her splashed in much of anything. The 4 threat spot is pretty competitive, which I've said to a nauseous level at this point. Again, I'm so glad to see another 4 in the game. And I think the big issue is I don't really think you're going to see her too much out of affiliation.
Here's where I think she'll be splashed. Is Sam Wilson Avengers.
Convo. You'll see her in Convo. Yeah, you could probably see her in Avengers.
Sam Wilson. Huh?
Sam Wilson Avengers. Because she benefits so heavily from the extra power, the additional movement, and getting rid of any conditions that is in fact slowing her down or stunning her or whatever. I think Sam Wilson Avengers puts her in a really neat spot to be literally all over the table all of the time, and constantly being in that great range of keeping people outside that like hunter dead zone, right? Of that be outside of range 3 so they can't get within range 2, or they're forced to get in range 2 for rerolls and stuff, or for
And then
blanks to successes.
And to a degree, that's the same thing with Convocation with the bump.
Yeah.
So if she gets it once, she just runs.
I suppose Midnight Suns also she might
Mm.
be able to do something with. But yeah, I think Convocation's a great spot for her. Personally, I'm super stoked to round out X-Force, which doesn't really have much access to psychic attacks outside of Ascani Sun. So
Yeah.
I think she's a great piece for that. Additional rerolls as well to either get more power off or to force the pursuit in case you didn't get it with your 78% chance to get it.
Well, she gets a reroll without having to pay the power for it. So,
Well, and Pretty Sneaky Sis actually works out really interestingly with her as well, making her stealth range 2. So now Martial Artist is always going to be there, and you're getting rerolls with telekinetic projections. I think she's actually going to. I might start playing X-Force again.
ooh,
I also never stopped playing X-Force.
I was going to say.
I was gonna say, I know that when you were at LVO on the top table, you were rocking X-Force there, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Dude,
Like
sweet.
under the stream table, just playing by myself. But yeah.
you were playing
You get him, Cable.
You were playing Pogs with your little MCP model.
I loved Pogs.
It's actually they're not Pogs. It's just all the extra bases I have from buying every character in this game.
So many bases.
It's a lot. Chuck.
Let's come on a large. Can't get a large base anywhere.
They don't come with extras, no.
Chuck gave
Sure
me
don't.
like a bag of all the models he had assembled for me, and it's a lot. It was an overwhelming amount. I was like, this is aggressive. You saved all these, and he's like, well, yeah, they're yours. And I was like, that's okay. Good point. All right, fair. What am I supposed to do with these?
I absolutely love the little bottles and cans and stuff. I use them in all the games I
Oh,
play
yeah.
and put them on the bases. I love those things.
They're pretty fun.
You're fun.
Knee looking. Ha! Got him.
Hey!
Hey, Tim, as the new owner of Professional Casual, how would you use Psylocke?
So Weapon X or X Force, heavily. Listen, she loves everything that's in there. Even Hydra Bob, that's not a part of it, but I never run X Force without Hydra Bob.
Because you just assume he's in there, even though he's
Yeah,
not.
I'm like, he's friends with Deadpool. He's an X Force.
Bah.
100%.
Unfortunately.
They like excessive violence.
Sure.
I think I like her
Sure.
in Weapon X.
Mhm.
You know, memory tokens could be nice
Oh, yeah.
there.
Yep.
And giving them some mystic, because I'm pretty sure Weapon X has no mystic or even energy. I think they're...
Domino
Oh,
has
Domino's
a
in
little
there.
energy.
A tiny bit, yeah. But then you got some choice there with Psylocke. We haven't said this one in a while. It used to be our go-to, but Steve Avengers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
her pseudo
You always
charge
get a reroll.
is 1
Yeah.
Yeah,
to advance
so
short and gain 2 dice on your next telekinetic katana.
Yeah. That makes her
For
Malekith,
1
by
power,
the
like
way.
whoa!
That's a 1 power Malekith attack. You know, you're getting it's not as large of a move. It's not a medium movement.
On
You
a
don't get the throw
large base.
afterwards. But, Midnight Blade or whatever is 7 energy. So, listen, she can hit like a Malekith once per turn.
Also, I know it doesn't come up a whole lot. I actually think her models are really neat.
Yeah.
Actually, it's like a pretty good sculpt. I think the art on the card is it's weird because it's Carlos. I think this is the same guy that did the amazing art for Sabretooth or Logan or one of the two. It's so weird because like the style of the art on the card is like completely different than like the rest of the art on all the other cards. It's like way more realistic. I don't know how to word it, but anyway, I don't know why I brought that up. But yeah, I actually think that overall, hobby-wise, I think the model for her is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do the shadow appearing thing on the model there, Dan.
Ooh.
The,
I was gonna say I'm kind of excited to paint purple hair.
The way her face is illustrated, I think you're spot on, Dr. D, where like it's a really intense, awesome, it's a well done piece.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's just different. It's not bad different. It's just different.
Now, we also know that, so hold up. Was Psylocke ever part of the Hellfire Club at any point?
I don't think so.
So again, I think this is going to be a big issue until we actually see the card, which I'm thinking is going to be next week because I think that's usually when they show the cards. Is they like the Hellfire Club has been so different.
What's going on with that? I want to know.
So like I think the Hellfire Club was only mutants, right? When Emma first came out in like the 90s or whatever kids came out in.
It was 80s.
Sure. And then it's like, and then yeah, the cartoon was in the 90s, and then like since then it's kind of just become like a pseudo Illuminati sort of.
Yeah.
It's just like a rich boy hangout.
The last iteration of the Hellfire Club was a bunch of kids.
I super dug that.
Sure.
It was like anti-Runaway vibes, like a little bit.
Right? They were awful. It was like the Descendant of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It was one of them.
Speaking of, as far as tactic cards, though, there are a lot in this box with Emma and Psylocke. Are there any anticipated, like, where does, you know what I mean? Sometimes we get, like, a big bruiser character. We get someone like Ulik or Rhino, and we assume that there's going to be some types of throws or something along those lines. Are there any that kind of reach to you immediately as far as tactics cards that you would expect her to have?
I think
teleport.
You know what? I was just about to say
Actually,
there might be the shadow teleport right there. She might have the range 5 Ulik type teleport type thing.
I'd actually be okay with that.
Yeah.
If that's how they represent it. As long for it to get represented in there at all, I'd be pretty okay with that. She can have a hyper drill.
Actually, you know, and to give credit where it's due, Throw Lash does actually put up a good point. So X-Men Storm is gold, yes. So like some of the most powerful part of that affiliation is the bump. The hop, and so she actually makes a really good character to get in a place where you really want like a potential bump.
Oh,
with all the extra movement and stuff.
Thank you, Broadcastle, for the raid. Welcome, everybody. We're talking about some Marvel Crisis Protocol and going over the new character card that was revealed earlier this week.
Howdy ho!
Hello there. But yeah, so for me, it's one of those things where I think maybe something defensively. Like a psionic shielding or something kind of like MODOK has, where he can kind of like project and give everyone whatever. I forget what that does. Not aim lackeys, but I think it's just psionic.
Yeah, it's like PSI or something like that.
Psionic shielding device.
Like
something like that might give people, a small steroid on defense dice or something along those lines.
Actually, wait, I had a really good idea. What if there was a card where you and one other character can pay a power and you don't take damage from like a collision?
I knew where that was going as soon as you opened your mouth.
Yeah,
but it's just Emma in diamond form, just something hitting her, and she's like, whatever.
I don't care.
I think they'll go a different route, and I think they will reprint Indomitable with her.
Ooh, that's actually...
I wouldn't mind that too much.
Right?
They don't update the gallery anymore. It used to be able to see, they put the name of the tactics cards in there, so you could really get fun guesses off it.
Yes.
On how many cards does this pack come with?
It's like 6, wasn't it?
I think it specifically says 6, and I think it specifically says that one of them is the leadership card.
Yeah.
Okay, so that has a lot going on. Yeah,
there is
5, the leadership, whatever how that's gonna work, and just 5 tactics cards in a box is a lot.
I mean,
I'm gonna we've seen since Nick Fury Jr.
I seriously think that 3 of them are going to probably be Emma because of the affiliation, because one of the cards might be specifically like, oh, if you play Hellfire Club.
Right.
So I would assume Psylocke's probably only going to get 2, if not 1.
Yeah.
I think that's spot on. I think Psylocke will get 2. I think Emma will get 2 as well, the leadership card, and then probably a specific Hellfire Club affiliated card.
What if Psylocke gets vipered and gets no cards in her box?
I mean,
then we throw her in the trash. Like we have with Viper.
I've run a lot of Viper. She's not as bad as people make her out to be. She's worse.
She's got a cool ring. She has the 1 ring.
So the ring thing is cool. Well, listen, I had a lot of luck with her until she gets, devoured by a Malekith turn 1. But listen, that's what happens when you find senators on your first try. Ugh. But
the good old days.
Right? Okay, real quick.
What?
Yeah, hold on.
No, I want to know?
I'll address it.
Oh,
He's been asking me to bring this up. I think it's a great idea. Guys, this is a real side tangent. But we have a Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition actual play podcast called Gapapa, a grim podcast of perilous adventure. Dan runs it. It's a great show. I adore it. I listen to it every few weeks when we record it. He had an idea to do a one-shot or a small mini-series called Baby Gapapa. That's effectively Muppet Babies with all of the characters as kids. I think it's a great idea.
Who do you think you are to be able to make decisions like this? Do you think you're the owner professional? Is it you or Dan right now? Who's the owner right now?
I just love it.
It's a collective.
It's a new little shtick every week. It's great. Who's the owner?
Inside joke.
Who's he?
Two Bird is the owner now.
Nuts.
Oh, nuts.
But yeah, baby Kapapa. I think we should make it happen.
Anyway, hey. So, hey, 0 to 5 psychic slashes. What are you giving Psylocke? Go ahead, Tim.
4 1/4.
4 1/4.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
She's not a 4.5. You know what I mean? She's not a 4.5, but she's certainly a 4 1/4. I like her a lot. I anticipate using her, and she will probably be one that just gets left on my desk instead of going back on the shelf because I'm going to use her pretty regularly. Yep.
Yeah, you keep telling yourself you're going to paint the bathroom walls, and you just keep forgetting to do it. You're always too tired when you get home, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. There's a small handful of characters that remain in that spot for me, and Hood and Bullseye are certainly. I think she's going to join their ranks.
Bullseye fits that spot to a T.
What about you, Danny boy?
Well, who?
Oh, Danny boy.
Nope.
Danny
Nope.
boy.
The Psylocke, she's calling.
My initial thought was like a 4.
Yeah, she's a 4. You figured it out.
I feel like because we talked about how 4s have
You're now
such
the second owner.
competition.
You're the owner squared.
I like that she brings more cheaper psychic stuff to X-Men
Yeah.
and X-Force and Weapon X and all the X-Men
Cheaper?
derivatives.
Well, then Jean?
Oh,
Cheaper-
then Jean. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
What other psychic stuff do they have outside just Beast's incredibly good looks?
Right. I mean, they have this box, right?
Right, yeah.
So I think that puts. When I first read this card, I felt like she's pretty mid 4. After talking about it a little bit, she's a little higher than that.
Mhm.
She's not. I don't think she's a push 4.
No.
Not quite, but I think she's a solid 4. She's good what she does, and I like that she brings some variety to X-Men. So I'm gonna give her, what was it, 4 psychic slashes?
Yeah, 4 psychic slashes.
4 to 5 psychic slashes.
What about you, Doctor?
So Dr. Doofus. I think I'm gonna give her a 3. I think that she fits the current like AMG design philosophy really well. I think she's well designed. I think she has a purpose. I think with the power she has, I think she's a 4, which is nice, right?
Yeah.
I think all the characters they've released since this year started have been pretty good. Other than my opinion on Rhino, it wasn't that he was bad, but I just, it was one of those weird situations. But regardless, I think as a 4, she's good.
Yeah.
I don't think she's great.
Great
is what you need to be to get splashed outside of affiliation.
Yeah.
She is not. She will be in X-Force. You're probably going to see her in some forms of X-Men, but I don't think you're. Well, and again, Convocation might be the one exception, maybe. So maybe like a 3.5 in that case. But I don't think you're going to see her outside of that.
Tubert said his favorite MCP is Cyclops Tim.
Cyclops Tim is a solid 6 out of 5.
Yeah.
Other dimensional physical blasts.
But to your point, Dr. Dillamus, kind of similar with Rhino, right, where he seemed a little underwhelming at first, even to the point of being like, wow, this sucks. He's just bad Juggernaut. But then the tactics cards come out and completely kind of reverse people's opinion on him.
That rose his stock significantly.
Right. So we could very well see something here too. And that's why I have her at a 4.25, is because I assume she's going to have some bomb, just awesome tactics card that's going to be like, it turns people's brains off. That's super cool. You just get to smash one of your opponent's models or something.
I'm a little surprised she doesn't have like a psychic knife type attack that just like gives stagger or potential to give an activated token. Because that was always her thing, is like she stabs you in the head with her psychic knife and you're unconscious. Just straight up.
So I anticipate there being a tactics card that will be similar like that. Yeah.
I feel like we need a tactics card to represent that because it's not on her card. And that's such a big part of this version of Psylocke.
Yeah. Well, and could even be something along the lines of like, maybe a pounce might be a little out of the way, but as far as she's always jumping around and stabbing things, right?
Yeah, she's a crazy ninja.
So to have a small, like a short throw herself, she doesn't take damage from the collision, and her next attack, gets 2 extra dice and staggers if damage happens or something along those lines.
So let me present the counter. Let me be the Faustinian devil on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting real competitive with character cards right now. Like
Yeah.
every good character that's come out recently has had a card, more than one. Usually, one of them is stapled to the model.
Scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt.
Everyone,
this is a
everyone
robbery.
says this.
I just wanted to
Yes.
say it again.
This is
Patrick
a robbery.
Duffy coming in with his little celery leg and or with his celery arm and Patrick Duffy
Not
leg.
again. But yeah, like this
So-
robbery is a perfect example.
Yeah.
It is, and so it's getting more and more it's getting really competitive for that spot.
Yeah. Yep.
Is Psylocke going to be the character that's going to be good enough to displace a Rhino? I don't think so. Again, maybe the card is so good that she might, but again, we're kind of just guessing at this point.
Yeah, what if the card, gives her super stealth, right? Just all the time or for an entire round. It's a solo, individual, pretty sneaky sis, and prevents anyone from being robberied. Specifically. Like, it's a really direct, counter.
Wow.
I get
Counter
that.
It's weird
to
that
a
she's
specific
never
card.
encountered Rhino, but she's got this card exactly against
Well,
him.
do you know why?
Wild.
Because Rhino knows that she cannot be targeted by robberies. Dormammu can,
He
but
just
well,
stays
not
away
not.
from her because he knows he can't rob
Yeah,
her.
he's like, well, I
anyway.
can't rob her.
When you're reading your nerd comics full of mutant weirdos, does Rhino ever rob Psylocke?
I don't think that's ever happened.
Yep.
Boom. Truth.
Confirmed.
Established.
But yeah. So listen.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Dan, we are now the owners of Professional Casual.
Got him again.
Rhinos are just high capacity assault unicorns. Thank you, Tuber.
Not wrong, Tuber.
Proof.
But yes, sounds are also turned off for this particular stream because people are listening at home. The podcast version that comes out Tuesday are gonna have no idea what is going on when someone immediately just yells for the horde or.
I don't know what's going on when that happens.
Oh wow.
Wow.
But once again, this Saturday, February 18th, we're holding an LVO qualifier at Bearded Dragon Games in Oneonta, New York.
Ooh.
Check out the Facebook. There's a link in the show notes. If you're checking out the show notes, guess what? The event was last weekend. But over on the Facebook, we will be trying to do that quarterly. We'll also attempt to have them all as LVO qualifiers as well. So come in and get some points, have a good time, hang out with us, see me, Dan, Dr. D, Danny, Lindsay, Anthony. Anthony's a very different experience in person. A very different experience in person. What's up?
I just checked the Longshanks.
Yeah.
Boom TTFN has.
Heck
Registered.
yes! All right, cool. That's super cool. That'll
He was a
be
great
good to
guy.
see them again. Beautiful. So how many? What are we up to?
8.
By the way, 8. Player don't hate. I'm sure that we're gonna have some people showing up day of too. So if you are planning on coming to this event, please make sure you register on the Longshanks. I believe it's game. I want to say 7111, 7011,
Yes.
7011,
Yeah.
or 7111.
7011.
7011.
Event number.
Nice. I'm
Oh, the
I'm super smart. That's why
Professional Casuals Challenger Standard
You
at
should-
BD.
Tim, you should start like a network.
it's a good idea, man.
You know,
It's a super
jeez.
good idea. But
Talk to me after this stream. Maybe we'll talk.
But professionalcasual.com, you can find blogs from both Dan, myself, Taylor, Dr. D, Ben wrote a blog about Winter Guard too. There's a whole bunch of stuff there on a pretty
Cider
regular
drinker.
basis. Cider
You
drinker.
said both and listed 5 people.
Yeah, but so Tim, you haven't said it in a while. Are you still hiring writers?
Yeah. If people are interested in writing some blogs for us, we do pay real hard cash internet monies for that.
True.
Feel free to send an email to tim@professionalcasual.com with a sample of your writing or something you might want to write about, because we're always interested in new takes, hot takes, cold takes, or last takes, high stakes,
Even
Hot
late.
pastrami sandwiches.
medium rare stakes.
I love hot pastrami sandwiches.
Yeah, dude. You know, we should
When-
share one at the event.
That sounds great, yeah.
Just
Let's
eat a
do it.
tomahawk steak together, like across the table.
What? No, a hot pastrami sandwich.
Hot pastrami
Oh,
Where'd
sandwich.
you get tomahawk steak?
I don't know. I've just been thinking
Those
a
are
lot.
so expensive.
I've just been thinking a lot about tomahawk steaks. To be fair,
We'll go over to Sloan's and get one for like $70.
no, they're $40. At least pre-COVID, the last time I bought a tomahawk steak.
So probably at least 60 now.
But still, you can feed
Let's
3
be
people
fair.
with a tomahawk steak.
Yeah, but are you gonna?
Listen.
Well, I mean, you would.
I would. I'd have to. I just want to gnaw on that bone, man. But a huge thank you to all of you that support us here on Twitch with subs, Amazon Prime subs, all that whole nine. That really helps us out a ton. Follows and subscribes there, as well as the Patreon over at patreon.com/professionalcasual. Especially our King Ding Doppelgangers and our professional cake sitters, including, but not limited to... Dude, I had it, and then Dylan said that. All right.
You want to help? The owner
nope.
of Professional Casual.
Nope.
Don't want help.
I got. I'll get all 12. You ready? Bastion, Rob, Bicon, Leroy, Cider Drinker, Otis, Dr. D, Iron Maze, Dagna, Devil Pup, Wizard Skills, and Cider Drinker.
Cider Drinker, yeah.
Did you say Tony Hot Hands?
I
don't think you did.
Didn't say Tony Hot Hands. Nuts.
If you
He's
go
one
to
of
the
the
tournament,
OGs.
you can meet Tony Hot Hands, and you can feel how warm his hands are.
His
Probably
hands are-
not. I don't think he'll let you touch him.
Don't let him hold your ice cream cake.
It will melt,
It will melt very quickly.
even though it's the June sun.
His hands are actually made out of that material. Have you seen those like direct to or like as seen on TV commercials of like it's just like a plastic mat you set your steak on, it dethaws it like 8,000 times faster
Yeah, he's
than
got
regular
Glob Herman
defrosting.
hands.
Yeah, there's just paraffin wax.
I want Glob Herman in this game.
I would really like Glob
Glob
Herman in
and
this game,
Beef
too.
Box. Glob and Zorn, to be fair.
Which Zorn?
Awesome. I don't know. They're all the same.
You guys haven't done the wish list thing in a long
It's
time.
been a hot minute. Mine hasn't changed. Quentin.
Well,
Fire
that's the
and Wiccan.
problem is they haven't changed because they won't give us Earthmoon.
Yeah, that's the issue.
All right, can I change? Right, because I was right.
What's that?
Mine was literally like a week later.
It
Oh,
really
wow, that
was.
must be nice.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
wouldn't
you know,
it be nice?
brother, brother, listen here, brother. When you have, listen, I had a lot of karma stored up from Elektra and Daredevil. All right, so that's something coming my way. I'm gonna wish for another mutant because that means
What?
it might actually
Oh.
happen. Madeline Pryor,
Oh yeah.
The Goblin Queen?
Goblin Queen herself.
Like, do you want the Goblin Queen version of Madeline Pryor or just like Cable's mom, Madeline Pryor?
Oh, so I was gonna ask that. Is
Only the Goblin version.
all right.
Yeah.
I just want goblin versions of a bunch of people. I want goblin. Ooh, if they did like a goblin version of Norman Osborn, that would be like
that'd be-
super cool.
You talk about Ultimate?
Like Ultimate Green Goblin?
Yeah,
No,
where
it looks
he's like-
awesome.
No, I was just
monster.
saying like a goblin, like a green goblin. Of
What?
Norman
Who?
Osborn.
He already is, though.
What's a Green Goblin?
That was a joke. Be
I
like,
do-
oh,
there are some
I hope
cool,
they make a winter version of Urza Major. That'd be super cool.
Wow. There are some cool like Goblin verse versions of characters that look awesome.
Ooh.
Like Beast, and he almost
Carnage.
looks like goatish with like
Goblin?
big horns, and he's like all crazy.
That's
That
rad.
may have actually been Nightcrawler, but there's some really cool.
May have actually been
I think
Psylocke.
they're called Goblin verse stuff. There's some neat things going on there.
I'd super dig that.
Madeline Pryor is
Hobgoblin.
weird.
By the way, Hobgoblin, please.
Hobgoblin.
Yeah, my Green Goblin is painted like Hobgoblin. I really like Hobgoblin.
I was.
Hey Tim, what's it like being way cooler than everybody else in the
Oh,
entire world?
listen, man, I wrote a blog about it.
Oh, sweet.
When's that going up?
I don't know. It's for
Is it
patrons only.
Same time we
breaking
put up
any
the Soulbound
NDAs?
games.
Yeah, yeah. I just
You're
know.
breaking the NDA that Hobgoblin exists in Marvel? Wow.
Oh,
ready to get
all right.
canceled.
Yep. I didn't say that, guys. That was a joke.
Gotta
Hobgoblin.
shut it down. Shut it down.
But seriously, guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Join us next week when we'll be talking about how our LVO qualifier tournament went and why Inhumans won the entire day.
Yay, Alyssa.
And hopefully we'll talk about those tactics cards.
Yeah, I
This
really hope.
box.
I really hope that
I'm
we are going to
excited.
talk about how there's a tactics card where she moves long and backflips over someone and stabs in the back of the head and they
Right.
become activated.
Or who knows? Maybe we'll get a Immortal Hulk card.
Oh,
That's-
actually,
I
yeah.
feel like that'd be a bit early, but
possible.
who knows?
Yeah. So what was the over under there? Are we thinking he's going to be a 5, a 6, or an 8?
He's gonna be like an 8 for sure.
I don't
Yeah.
know. There's so many ways they could go with him, with like the mortalness and potentially like coming back.
But
or
it's
whatever.
gonna solve the argument, the card, based on the wording on it, is it Thor or Hulk who is the strongest Avenger? Because if this one doesn't have the strongest Avenger there is or whatever, that proves that Thor is in fact the strongest Avenger.
Don't.
Yeah.
You're gonna summon Mitch to come and just yell.
I
Thanks,
didn't say he
Two-Bird.
was
Have a
good.
night.
I'm just saying he's stronger.
But
He's got
all
a
right,
higher bench.
all right, guys. Have a great night. Stay safe. And remember to leave the blood on the brisket. This has been Elite 8 Weight Down.
Let's get a hot pastrami sandwich.
Yay!
If you want to share a tomahawk
Yeah.
steak, make sure to hit us up at Bearded Dragon Games.
Bleeded by the dumpster by Bearded Dragon.
Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Love you. Bye.